Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Ah,
You know what we're looking at today right now.
yeah, I'm excited for this one.
This is real estate crowdfunding,
Mm-hmm.
which it's kind of like dipping your toes into the world of real estate
Yeah,
without actually buying a property.
you're right.
So we have a source today that's going to kind of walk us through the steps of how to actually open a real estate crowdfunding account.
Okay.
And I'm really interested in this because I think it's a really cool new avenue for people to kind of explore building wealth.
I think it's going to open up real estate to a wider audience for
Mm.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just for,
The super rich.
wealthy anymore. Yeah.
Right. So let's just break it down. Like, what exactly is real estate crowdfunding? Because I think some people might have heard the term, but they might not really know what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of what it sounds like, right?
Right.
You're pooling funds with other investors,
Okay.
and then you're buying into properties together.
So, like, instead of me going out and buying a house, I could buy like a small percentage of a house
Exactly.
with other people.
Yeah, or like a downtown high-rise or
Right.
a shopping center or whatever it is,
Right.
without actually having to manage the property or be a landlord or anything like that.
Right. Which is a pretty tempting
Yeah.
proposition for a lot of people, I would think.
For sure.
So, okay, you've decided you want to try this out.
Right.
Like, what's the first step?
Well, I think according to our source here,
Okay.
the first step is really choosing the right platform.
Okay, so like a website.
Exactly, like a website or a company that,
Okay.
that kind of facilitates this whole process.
Gotcha.
And it's really important because you're trusting them with your money, right?
Makes sense.
So you want to do your research and make sure that
Yeah.
they're a reputable company.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you look for when you're trying to choose one?
Yeah, so our source mentions three kind of key factors.
Okay.
First, you want to look at what type of properties they invest in. So are they focusing on residential properties?
Like houses,
Like houses or apartments, or are they doing commercial real estate?
like office buildings and stuff?
Exactly. Office buildings, retail spaces, or REITs,
Okay.
which are real estate investment trusts.
Now, and those are different levels of risk and return, I would imagine.
Exactly. Yeah, each one has its own kind of risk profile
Okay.
and potential return.
So you kind of got to figure out what your
Yeah,
comfort level is with that.
exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What about the next thing to look for?
Next thing is the minimum investment amount.
Okay.
Some platforms will let you get started with as little as $500.
Wow. So it's not like you have to be a millionaire.
Oh, no, not at all.
No.
Get into this.
It's actually pretty accessible.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the final thing to consider is whether there are any accreditation requirements.
Oh, okay.
Now, some platforms only work with accredited investors.
Oh, so like you have to prove that you have a certain amount of wealth or income. Exactly. Yeah, there are certain income or net worth thresholds that you have to meet. Okay, interesting. To be considered an accredited investor.
So it's not like a free-for-all. There's still some regulations.
Yeah, there are definitely still regulations in place,
Okay.
but there are also platforms that are open to non-accredited investors as well.
Gotcha.
So it really depends on the platform and your own personal circumstances.
It really does sound like there's a lot of different options.
Yeah.
And that you can really find something that fits your style and your budget.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned earlier that there were some popular platforms out there. Like, what are some of the big names that people might have heard of?
Yeah, so our source mentions a few big names in the industry. Fundrise is one.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, they're known for being very user-friendly.
Yeah.
They have a really nice interface on their website,
Makes sense.
and they have really low investment minimums, so it's good for beginners.
Okay.
Then there's RealtyMogul. They offer a wider range of investment types, so you can find some higher risk, potentially higher return options there.
Okay.
And then there's CrowdStreet, and they focus more on institutional grade commercial real estate.
Oh, so that's for the more seasoned investors.
Exactly. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
looking for more experienced people who
Yeah.
have a higher net worth.
Interesting. So it's really, like you said, it's like a real estate buffet.
Yeah, there's something for everyone.
Like you can find whatever you're looking for.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so you've done your research. You've picked the platform you like.
Right.
What happens next?
So the next step is to actually open an account on that platform.
Okay.
And that usually involves providing some personal information like your name, your address,
Right.
social security number, things like that.
Makes sense.
You'll also probably have to share some information about your investment experience.
Like how much you've invested in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And your financial details like your income and your net worth.
Okay. And this is all just so they can kind of assess you as an investor.
Yeah, it's for their own due diligence
Gotcha.
to make sure that you're a suitable investor for the types of offerings they have.
Makes sense.
And then you'll also typically have to link your bank account so you can transfer funds
Okay.
to and from the platform.
Now, I'm guessing there's probably some sort of identity verification too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Almost all platforms will have some sort of identity verification process.
Like they'll ask for your driver's license or something.
Exactly. Yeah, they might ask for a copy of your driver's license or your passport
Okay.
to make sure that you are who you say you are.
And I'm guessing that's probably even more strict if you're trying to invest a lot of money.
Yeah, for larger investments, they might require even more documentation,
Okay.
especially to verify your accreditation status if that's required.
Okay, okay.
So it can be a little bit of a process,
Right.
but it's all designed to protect both the investors and the platform itself.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so you've got your account all set up.
Right.
You're ready to start investing.
Right.
How do you actually fund the account and start picking properties?
So funding the account is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
It's usually just a matter of transferring money from your bank account into your account on the platform.
So, like, I could wire the money?
You could wire the money.
Okay.
You could do an ACH transfer.
Okay.
It depends on the platform and what options they offer.
Gotcha.
But it's usually a pretty simple process.
Okay.
And then once you have the money in your account,
Okay.
then you can start browsing the available projects.
So how does that work?
So most platforms will have like a marketplace
Okay.
where they list all the different investment opportunities that are available.
Oh, cool.
And you can kind of go through and browse.
This is like pictures of apartment buildings?
Yeah, exactly. You might
Yeah.
see pictures of the property.
Okay.
You'll see a description of the project.
Okay.
You'll see information about the sponsors or the developers
Mm-hmm.
who are behind the project. You'll see financial projections.
Okay.
You can get an idea of what the potential returns might be.
Makes sense.
And then you can also read about the risks involved.
Okay.
Because every investment has risks.
Right.
And it's important to understand those before you put your money in.
So it's kind of like shopping for a house in a way,
Yeah, it's kind of like virtual real estate shopping.
but without all the hassle of actually going to open houses. And
Exactly.
I see.
No bidding wars, no dealing with real estate agents.
that's pretty cool. Okay. So you've funded your account. You've picked a property you like.
Right.
How do you actually keep track of how your investment's doing?
So most platforms will provide you with some sort of dashboard
Okay.
where you can log in and see how your investments are performing.
So like a website that I can check on?
Exactly. Yeah, it's usually a website or a mobile app.
Gotcha.
And you can see things like the current value of your investment,
Okay.
any distributions or dividends that have been paid out,
Okay.
and then any updates or news about the project.
Now, what does distributions and dividends mean?
So distributions or dividends, that's the money that you actually get paid
Okay.
from the property's income.
Okay.
So if it's an apartment building and it's generating rental income,
Right.
you'll get a share of that income as a distribution or a dividend.
Oh, so that's like passive income.
Exactly. Yeah, it's passive income coming in
That's awesome.
from your investment.
So you literally don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything. You just
Just collect the checks.
collect the checks. Exactly.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's distributions and dividends. And then what was the other thing you mentioned?
So the other way you can make money is through capital appreciation.
Okay.
And that's when the property itself increases in value over time.
So like if the real estate market goes up.
Exactly. If the real estate market goes up,
Okay.
the value of your investment goes up as well.
Okay. So when you go to sell it, you'll make more money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you eventually sell your investment, you'll hopefully make a profit.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Okay, cool. No, we got to talk about the pros and cons here, right?
Yeah, definitely. Every investment has pros and cons.
Right.
And real estate crowdfunding is no different.
So what are some of the potential rewards and some of the risks that people should be aware of?
Yeah. So on the plus side,
Hi.
real estate crowdfunding is really accessible.
Okay.
It typically requires a lot less upfront capital than traditional real estate investing.
Right?
So you don't need to have hundreds of thousands of dollars
Right.
to
Yeah.
buy a property.
You could start with $500, like you said.
Exactly. You could start with a much smaller amount.
Cool.
And it allows you to diversify your portfolio
Oh.
by investing in multiple different properties
Right.
with smaller amounts of money.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the potential for passive income
Yeah.
through those distributions and dividends.
Everybody likes passive income.
Everybody likes passive income.
That's awesome.
And the potential for capital growth as well, if the property appreciates in value.
So there's definitely some upside there.
Yeah.
But what about the risks?
Yeah, so of course there are risks as well.
Okay.
Like any investment, real estate markets can be volatile.
Right.
They can go up, they can go down.
Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Exactly. Nobody has a crystal ball.
Right.
So you could potentially lose money
Okay.
if the market takes a downturn.
And there's also the risk that a project could just fail.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Projects can face unforeseen challenges. There could be
Okay.
construction delays.
Right.
There could be cost overruns.
Right.
There could be problems with tenants.
Yeah.
All sorts of things can happen.
So it's not guaranteed that you're going to make money.
No returns are never guaranteed
Right.
with any investment.
So you really do need to do your research
Yeah.
and make sure you understand the risks
Absolutely.
before you jump in.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
No.
It's still an investment
Right.
that requires careful consideration.
Now I'm kind of curious how you think this whole real estate crowdfunding model
Yeah.
could change the future of real estate investing, because it seems like it's pretty new and different.
It is pretty new and different, and I
Mm.
think it has the potential to really shake things up.
Go ahead.
I mean, some people argue that it could democratize real estate ownership,
Okay.
make it more accessible to younger generations,
Okay.
people who might not have been able to afford to invest in real estate before.
Right.
And it could also potentially influence housing affordability in the long run.
Interesting. So how would that work?
Well, if more people are able to invest in real estate,
Okay.
it could potentially increase the supply of affordable housing
Okay.
because developers would have more access to capital
Right.
to build new projects.
That makes sense.
But of course, there are also potential downsides.
Right.
Some people worry that if a lot of money flows into real estate crowdfunding,
Okay.
it could actually drive up prices
Okay.
and make housing even less affordable.
And that's if the market experiences a downturn.
Yeah, if the market crashes,
Right.
all those investors who put their money into these crowdfunding platforms
Yes.
could potentially lose a lot of money.
That's the risk with every investment, though.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the risk with every investment.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just something to be aware of.
It's a double-edged sword, it sounds
It
like.
is definitely a double-edged sword.
It's really interesting to think about how it could all play out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves.
Yeah, definitely. So we've learned a lot about real estate crowdfunding today.
We have.
Is there anything else you think our listeners should kind of keep in mind, or any final thoughts that you want to leave them with?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is that
Yep.
real estate crowdfunding is a really interesting new development in the world of real estate,
Right.
and it has the potential to really change the way we invest in property.
Yeah.
So I would encourage your listeners to do their own research,
Right.
learn as much as they can about it, and maybe even explore one of the platforms that we talked about today
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
and see if it's right for them.
Yeah.
It's not going to be right for everyone,
Right.
but it could be a really good option for some people.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was really interesting to learn about this with you.
Absolutely.
So for all of our listeners out there, thank you for tuning in as always, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See ya.
Bye.